Take a look at this dark squared bishop. It is absolutely useless. It's like a bishop from one of my endgames. Why is it useless? Because it's stuck on the same colour as all of the pawns. White's dark squared bishop, on the other hand, is exactly the opposite. The pawns are all on white squares. White wins easily with bishop g5, and black's totally busted. If takes, white can just break through and win. Welcome to Michael Stean's chapter on the black and white squares. This chapter's not about the best minor piece on the board, the knight. It's about the second best minor piece, the bishop. In this position, right, white to play. White's got the superior bishop, and it's a very, very easy win. We take the queens off. Which pawn do you take it back with? You take back with the e pawn because the king can then get access quicker into the game. But white still won if we take back with the other pawn. But that's the best move. What can the black do? Well, black has to defend this pawn. Right, so there's no chance, there's no time for this move because of bishop d2, and then we'll just win this pawn and that pawn will just march. So it's a bit of a sad, pathetic move, but black is completely busted in the position. Bring the king up, target this pawn, and then black is just tied down to the defense of these pawns. Pieces don't like to be tied down to pawns, like ever. White can win in a variety of ways, but after the moves have been wasted, black's in the swing, and the bishop moves somewhere here. We take this pawn. Here, we take this pawn, and black's lost. Okay, we might know all that, but how can we end up without that daft stupid bishop in the endgame? By reading this chapter thoroughly. I don't know if you've watched the first video in this series. If you've not, no, you go and watch it, right? And in that video, if you did watch that video, we looked at a Bavinic position, and he used the white squares to dominate a position. Well, this is this chapter. It's kind of just dawned on me that actually, yeah, this is this chapter we're talking about. So it's not all about endgame. It's all about the bishop in the endgame. This is a middle game position from one of Michael Stean's own games, and if you look at this position, it's white to play. White uses the white squares to sort of dominate the position. You'll notice the black dark squared bishop is pretty poor. It's trapped behind three of its own pawns on the queen side, so white just improves the position subtly, and things just fall into place because he has the strategic position. So what would you play in this position if it was white to play? Well, white, Michael Stean in this position, he just plays the queen to the centre of the board on a light square. There's no bishop to sort of challenge it at all in the position, so we've just got the dark squared bishop, which is not very good behind these pawns. And in the game, black just gave up the pawn because after knight c4, we're just on this pawn, and we went into this position just conceding the pawn because the pressure's just a little bit too much. So I was playing around with this and thinking, well, what if, for example, after this position, what if f6? Then in that case we could play again knight c4, invading on the light squares. And this is really instructive for me because, you know, I just try and play tactically quite a lot, but this is subtly changing the way that I would play based on the study of this, improving my position, and then tactics will flow from that position as the theory goes. So after knight takes, bishop takes, white has got a checkmate in 3 threat, which can't be countered obviously for black. So it's just a case of, yeah, okay, you're using this bishop against these pawns, really just placing the pieces in a central position on the light squares, attacking black's weaknesses. And this knight, let's have a look in this position, for example. So after, as in the game, knight c4, what if f6 now in this position? And I always ask myself, what if this is not in the book, I set up the position, play around with it. What if this? What if this? Well, why not if f6? F6 in this position, we've got a really nice move. Right, just knight takes. Right, because if pawn takes, then bishop c4, attacking on the light squares, right? And then obviously this is down as mate in 4 in this position. Black can't defend that. Should we look at, alright, this is what the computer gives. Alright, and then, yeah, some stupid line like this, but just to show you the position. 5, strangely enough. And this is obviously checkmate on the light squares. This one is a fabulous position. Absolutely brilliant. White has clearly not been reading his Michael Stean, but that's his fault. You know, we have been, and we can benefit from that. So in this position, White offers a queen trade, which is a really bad move because Black has got a stunner coming up. So queen trade, do we accept it? Well, we do. Because of the following move. Can you find the following move based on what we've been talking about? Oh, this chair is extremely uncomfortable. I think I have to buy myself a new chair. But based on what we've been talking about, can you find the move for Black here? What I think is really instructive. Really, really like this move. And the idea behind this move in keeping the pawns in place. Well, talking too much, let's have a look. 98. 98. We're going to drop the knight in this position. The knight's on a fabulous square. Not only does it block the pass pawn, which Nimzo was pretty obsessed about in his book, My System. That's for another time. Not only does it stop that, but it puts the pawn, keeps the pawn on the light squares, which the bishop then can't really do anything about it. So with a knight on this square, on d6, the actual pawn is actually stopping the bishop from harassing the knight, right? So a really, really nice move. But the rest of this game is really instructive. It actually could be one of the most instructive positions in the whole of the book that I've seen so far. I really like it. And let's look how it went on. So bringing the king in makes sense. There's no rush to whack that on there. You can do it next time. Right, so now here in this pawn, so the knight jumps onto that square, and now it's even protecting this pawn. Right, I told you that knights are better than bishops. So yeah, the knight's stopping this pawn, it's also protecting this pawn. Fantastic. And the rook is obviously behind this pass pawn, so we can keep pushing at some point. Not yet though. Let's bring the king in the game. And now we can push. Takes. Rook behind pass pawn. Knight blocking this pawn. This bishop's rubbish. King is better than this king. Great stuff. Keep going. Right, right. The rook. At least I really like this pawn. So the rook is behind this. Now the rook is actually on the pawn to win the pawn. Right. So the bishop. What's the bishop got to do? It's got to spend its time defending the pawn. Pieces don't like defending pawns. I really love this position. Push the pawn. Right, infiltrate with a knight. So we'll probably be threatening this move as well. You know, whacking this off if we want to. And we're also defending this pawn. Right. Doesn't matter, we improve the position, bring the king in. So now the king is stopping the pawn, right, which is keeping the bishop hemmed in. Brilliant. And check, and the king is going to come even closer into the position. By the way, if you want to purchase the best tactics course on the internet, you can buy Common Chess Patterns above, and you can get the free sample basic chess patterns. Like, go and do it if you've not got it. It's my flagship course. Anyway, getting back to this, let's have a look. Because it's extremely instructive. The king's obviously moving in place to stop the pass pawn. It's all in Black's favour. Knight comes in. Right, not only are we hitting the bishop, we're hitting this square as well to put the pawn in that position. Fantastic. Right, so yeah, we could ram that bishop up, take that, go after these pawns. Obviously we've got to keep an eye on this position, keep an eye on this pawn, but it's too late for White. Can push this pawn. And then now I'm very much going to be all over soon this position, and we're threatening this straight away. Check. It promotes anyway, so there's no time for this move because we've got check, king moves, queen check. Thank you very much. Good night. So the rook stops this move, but then we're just threatening this as well. And the finish here is really nice, really superb. So the rook trying to cover this pawn. Check. Takes now. And can you find the stunning finish which is given in the footnotes of the book? Alright, so I would like to do this with the bishop. Is the bishop active? Right, is the bishop going to stop that? It's going to take the rook. No, because knights are better than bishops. I keep saying, nobody listens. Check, takes, and then the knight comes in and wins the game. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'll post the last, I think it is, space video when I can be bothered, when I've got time, maybe in a week or so. Thanks for watching. If you've not watched any other in the series, then you can find them on the playlist. And thanks for watching. Goodbye.